How much money is enough? This is the million-dollar question. If you're watching this now, you are probably interested in personal finance and pursuing your own financial goals. But how do you know when you've reached them? And how do you stop the goalposts from moving? In this video, I want to talk to you about a concept that I've come across recently, which really helps to put this whole financial freedom endeavor into perspective. Let me introduce you to the financial hierarchy of needs. So you might have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where there is a triangle, and at the base of the triangle are your physiological needs for food and shelter, and at the pointy end of the triangle is your psychological desire for self-actualization. The idea is that you can't achieve the things at the top of the triangle until you have the base level covered. So the financial hierarchy of needs is based on Maslow's triangle, and it plots the stages of your financial life. So let's dive in. Right, so when you're in the first tier of the triangle, you are taking care of your physical needs. At this stage, all of your money and all of your energy is going into making sure that you have food on the table and a roof over your head. So at this point, A, money is pretty stressful, and B, because of that, it's really hard to think about the future. All of your finances are focused on survival and the things that you need today. However, the good news is that once you find some stability with your finances, even if your income is lower, you can start thinking about the future, which takes you to the second tier of the financial hierarchy. And at this next stage of the hierarchy, you're starting to think about your psychological needs. So when we're talking about your psychological needs in terms of the financial hierarchy, we're looking at things that decrease your stress around your finances. So this is building up a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. It's paying off your high interest debts. And it is looking at boring but necessary spending like insurance. Instead of spending your money on day-to-day things, you're starting to spend money on your future self. Okay, so now that your basic needs are covered in tier 1 and your kind of financial security blanket is taken care of in stage 2, you're now ready to move into stage 3, where things get exciting, because this is where you start to think about building your wealth. Okay, so when you climb onto tier 3 of the financial hierarchy, this is where all those kind of clickbaity motivational YouTube videos come into play. And the good news is that you can play here too now. So the thing about this tier, looking at building your wealth, this is where you can start spending some time learning about investing or upskilling yourself so that you can demand a higher salary. And you might start kind of playing around with ideas for how to diversify your income. And when it comes to your spending, instead of spending money on either the day-to-day stuff or the boring but necessarily things for your future self, when you hit tier 3, this is where you have enough. So this is the exciting part for that reason too. This is where you can start spending your money on the things that matter to you. So you can start aligning your money and your spending habits with your values. So this is where you can play around and you start to be able to drop cash on things like travel or those little luxuries, you know, and maybe you treat your family to a few more evenings out. So yeah, this is a really nice place to be. And like I said, this for many people becomes the line for enough. This is where you're living a happy life day to day, you're financially secure, and you've got a little bit of wriggle room to play around. And when you're at this tier, as long as you are maintaining a bit of a balance between spending money on stuff that matters to you while simultaneously learning and making sure that you are still earning as much as you realistically can, you can, if you so choose, move on to the next level, which is all about preserving your wealth. So tier 4 on the financial hierarchy of needs, preserving your wealth, is the bit that's usually associated with that elusive financial freedom that we're all after. So this is where you're no longer reliant on your day job because you have multiple forms of income and you're set up for your retirement. So in other words, you've made it. You have more than enough now because you understand how money works. You know all those secret little hacks that rich people use to stay wealthy, and you know how to maintain your current level without exchanging your time for money. When it comes to your spending at this level, you are not only spending money on the stuff that makes you happier, but now you can start spending money on things that make your life easier. So you're kind of outsourcing the boring stuff. The more extravagant version of this might be you hiring someone to run your business so that you can take a 6-month sabbatical and go and explore without any worries. Right. And then while you're off exploring, you can start thinking about the next tier, which is the final tier of the financial hierarchy, and that is your legacy. So the pointy end of the triangle is your legacy, and this is all about your life winding down. What is going to happen to the wealth that you've been building up over the past few tiers? So in other words, what are you going to leave behind and who are you going to leave it to? The cool thing is that when it comes to your spending, you have now done all the work and grabbed all the opportunities and your wealth to a point that you can now spend it on luxuries, whatever that might mean to you. So the thing is, at this tier, you've probably got more money left than you have life left. That's the one downside to this part. But it does mean that you can splurge on the silly stuff because it doesn't really matter. You're not trying to plan for your whole life. So there you have it. That's the financial hierarchy of needs. For me, the one big takeaway, apart from knowing when it's enough, it's also that there's no shortcuts. You have to start at the bottom and work your way up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.